Welcome back, Sports This Morning on Channels TV. Time to pick up the sword and then do some sword play. Don't use it to injure anyone. Just do it in the spirit of sportsmanship. Fencing is one that is trying to gain, some recognition in Nigeria, and the Fencing Federation of Nigeria believe participating at the All Africa Games can actually put them into our faces and get us to talk about it. Let's be part of the discussion on Twitter or channels_sport and on Facebook or channels-sport. Let's talk fencing in Nigeria. The president of the Fencing Federation of Nigeria, Adeyinka Samuel, joins us now to talk about this one. Adeyinka, good to have you on the show.
Thank you.
My guys don't like when I do this, but it's okay. I did it because he's not having a sword. Good to have you on the show.
Good to have you.
Fencing in Nigeria, we're trying to come to terms with gymnastics or even cricket,
rugby.
And you guys come up with fencing.
From nowhere, right?
From nowhere. What's going on with that?
Thank you. First, thank you for the opportunity to come and to speak to you about fencing and to also create awareness of the sport. I mean, fencing dates back to the 14th centuries. So if you're talking about fencing, it's been there since then, and it was a way where noblemen would use to resolve disputes amongst each other. Fencing is one of 4 sports that has been in every modern Olympic Games. So it's also, surprising that we haven't taken fencing further than it is now, especially the fact that it is an Olympic sport. It's also going to be the first time fencing is participating in the All-African Games. Typically, we do championships, so you would have the African Fencing Championships, which we participated in just 2 months ago. And we've been representing Nigeria for many years now at the Commonwealth, at different World Championships and Grand Prix. So that's where it comes from. And we're just trying to grow the sport and develop it here in Nigeria.
Okay, I'm interested in asking you this. We had a little chat before you came on. Do you need to have a military background to be involved in fencing? Because of all the risks involved, and it talks about some of the sports like archery and all that. It talks about
shooting.
Military men are the ones that really. So do you need to have a military background?
No, because I don't have a military background, although military is good for the discipline. And we do try to get involved, even when I used to fence abroad. I noticed that they always pushed it towards the military side as well, just to get them involved. But you do not need a military background to be involved. I'll address the safety issue, because that's also an issue I always address quickly. Fencing is actually one of the safest sports out there, because of the risk involved. In every sport, there is risk involved. And because of the risk involved in safety, there are so many precautions and so many measures that have been put in place to make sure that it is participated and people do it in a very safe way. So up until our equipment, you have to be fully kitted up to fence. And one thing I'll say, even our equipment, the material is made out of Kevlar, which is the material that you use for bulletproof. And each material that is used has the amount of force required to penetrate it. So it's actually very, very safe. If you look at the statistics for fencing, they say the chances of you getting injured on your way to fencing is higher than getting injured during fencing.
All right. How do opponents, when two guys, how do they score points?
It's based on real life scenarios, because how it started. 2 noblemen challenge each other to a dispute. They'll go back, they'll train with their fencing masters, they'll pick a date 3 months down the line, and that's how they'll resolve it. Now, what it is, which is turned into modern fencing now, it's based on the same concept in terms of whoever initiates an attack. Because what they say is, in real life, if I'm coming to attack you with a sword, you're not just going to stretch out your arm and hope for the best. You would either get out of the way, or you would block it, which we call a parry, and you re-attack, which is a riposte. That's where you hear the phrase parry riposte in fencing, and that's when priority switches. So whoever initiates the attack gets priority or gets the point. Now, if the other person does a parry riposte, even though they both hit each other, then priority has switched to the person that has the parry riposte. So that's how it works.
Now let's look at the All Africa Games. Of course, we already have a squad, an 11-man team. We're going to be having some females and some males, 8 male rather, and 3 females. How did this all come about? I mean, in selecting some of the fences.
It is a very new sport. So first is to appreciate in Nigeria is what I mean. It's a new sport in Nigeria, and we've only been developing it since 2012 when we started getting equipment. We do get support from the International Federation because we are recognized by them. So it's taken some time to select these athletes, and what we're also doing is we're in schools as well, but the schools are not yet ready to compete because they're quite young. In what I mean, they're young. So for at this stage, selecting this has been quite tough. We have more ladies involved, so I just wanted to highlight that.
Ladies.
We have more ladies involved, although they're just 3 at this stage.
But
there are more ladies involved in the actual sport in Nigeria.
I think we have their names right there.
So there are more ladies involved in the sport in Nigeria. But selecting it, we have some fencers in diaspora, which is the way we've been able to select. I myself fenced in Scotland for many years, where I trained with the British squad and the Scottish squad. So that's how I was able to represent Nigeria at every competition. And then we've now started grooming a lot of people in Nigeria as well. So that's where the selection has come from, and we feel who are the best people.
I do know that before a particular any sport goes for a championship, the international body must give you some approval. And somebody will be saying they dropped rugby and are taking fencing. That will make you smart. But is the international body in support of you guys going to the African Games?
They are in support because we'll be speaking to them. But there's a different process in terms of the NOC also putting us forward in terms of accreditation. So they are aware. We've been talking to them, and we're making every effort. Apparently, we've not been accredited by the NOC. It's getting late, but we're making every effort to get in there and to because our guys are ready. Our guys are ready.
And funding, how is that an issue?
Funding has been very difficult because we haven't had any funding so far. So we are looking for support from the sports body to support us. As you can appreciate, it's not it's a bit of an expensive sport. It requires quite a bit of support, but we do get support from the International Federation.
Among some of the athletes going, I mean, for the male and the female, let's start with the male. Who will you say has the biggest potential, or who
medal prospects?
Medal prospect for the male athletes.
We have some guys. You can see we just came back from the African championship, and some of them looking at their prospects in terms of how
maybe any of these guys
whose
name
Femi has a good chance. Adeni Williams also, when he was younger, he had been in the top because he lived in Britain as well, so he'd been in the top fencers in Britain for many years. He's a very good fencer as well. So there are quite a few prospects in there that we believe can have a good chance at medal.
And I see Adeyinka Samuel, you still fence?
Yes, I do. This is sort of my comeback.
This is
sort of
I was going to say perhaps maybe it's another Adeyinka.
I try to, as much as I try and focus on developing the sport, I try and keep fit as well. I'm extremely passionate about fencing. I still want to fence as many times as possible. I would say I have a good chance as well. I was in the top 100 in the world in my time, and at the time the highest world ranked fencer in Britain because I lived there. So it's just me focusing more on developing the sport as taking a step back on actual fencing. So I still have it there.
Yeah, you've helped us to erase some of the fears that we have. I'm looking at you, don't have any marks on your face. You look lean, but what are the benefits? What benefits for fencing?
Great. We focus on 3 areas. There's the physical, which every sport gives you, in terms of fitness, agility you get from every sport. But some of the things that differentiate us in the physical aspect is balance, coordination, which we try and focus and we instill in the younger children right from the start. Because you find a lot of children as young as 10 can't catch a ball. You throw a ball at them and they can't catch it, and it's just eye-hand coordination. They can't coordinate both of them, and fencing requires a lot of eye-hand-feet coordination. So there's all of that. And in terms of physical benefits, in terms of the mental aspect of it, it's a very intelligent sport. Fence is actually a sport that is compared to chess, and everyone else knows that chess is very intelligent sport, because it's all about planning. You strategize. We do a lot of drills which focuses on muscle memories, but then everything else we try and keep our brain just focusing on tactics and technique. And then you have the social aspect, because it's an elite sport as well, and you can communicate and socialize with a lot of people. I mean, I've traveled to so many countries just to fence and to represent Nigeria, actually. So you meet a lot of people, different cultures.
So that's it. Thank you so much, Adenka, for coming around.
Thank you.
Now we know about fencing in Nigeria. The next time we'll bring you here, probably we're talking about the successes of the sport
the All Africa
in the
Games.
country. Thank you so much for coming around.
Thank you.
All right, let's go on another break. In the meantime, enjoy his highlights from the German Bundesliga. That's match day 2 highlights. John Skin.